My sister told me that my perverted guy best friend roped her. She is forcing me to cut him off. My guy best friend Jerry, who I have platonically loved dearly my entire life, has always been very disliked by my entire friend group. Our friendship started when we were young due to our families being very close. The one thing that has always got in the way of our friendship was my friend group. My friend group never saw the true side of him. They perceived his flirty personality and dark humor as crude or inappropriate, but they just don't understand him like I do. As time went on, he has had to tone down his jokes and his vocabulary around my friend group due to him getting slandered over it. I have fought with my friend group many times over it, especially my sister who has never approved of him. My sister has a closeted gay best friend, who Jerry has jokingly called the F-slur once, and my sister chewed him out for it, going as far as publicly exposing him by calling him out in our group chat. I of course stuck up for Jerry, and luckily the thing kind of washed over after a few months. As time went on, Jerry started getting more and more flirty with me, giving me compliments on my outfit and sometimes pecking my cheek in group photos. My sister was the one to tell me to watch out and keep my eye on him, but I was not worried. I trusted Jerry. Well, one time at a party Jerry and I ended up getting intimate when he was sober and I was not. However, I was feeling very HRY in that moment and gave Jerry my full permission. He asked me 3 times if I was sure and I told him yes each time. Word got around about this situation within the friend group and I knew I had to lie to everyone and say he was drunk too, because I knew that they would paint Jerry out to be a perv, regardless of whether or not I gave permission, simply because I was drunk and he was not. After this incident, I started thinking about Jerry more and more, having fantasies about him as that night at the party was just too damn good not to. I felt our connection grow into romantic levels. Then we took the next step, we started hooking up quite regularly. I used to love it every single time. He even gave me an anatomy lesson underneath the table in biology. This venture of mine and Jerry's relationship brings us to 2 nights ago. It was the weekend and my sister and I had the place to ourselves. My dad and mom work at the same company and were away for a business trip. I invited Jerry over at midnight. I knew my sister would not approve of Jerry coming over, as she still hates him for the F-slur incident, so I had him come over late when I knew she would be asleep. Jerry came over and the expected happened. We did the deed, 4 times. I gave him brain, which was honestly my first awful intimate experience with him, as this time he had forgot to wash his junk. Either way, besides that it was a fun night. We went to bed and I told Jerry he needed to be up early to leave the house before my sister woke up and found him. We said goodnight and went to sleep. I woke up at a little past 4 in the morning, with Jerry out of the bed and my sister screaming in the other room. I ran over to see what the commotion was and saw Jerry exiting the room and profusely apologizing, telling me he can explain. My sister was screaming at him to get out of the house, but I told her to be quiet and ushered Jerry into my room and told him to stay there. I went back into my sister's room and asked her to explain what happened. Through tears, she told me that Jerry came into her and started kissing her while she was sleeping. That's when she started waking up, and as she did, she felt Jerry's hands reaching for her no square. Then she screamed at him and woke me up. I hugged her and told her I need to go talk to Jerry about the situation too. I thought this was a reasonable thing to do, but my sister called me a pathetic excuse for a sister as I walked out to talk to him. Jerry offered his side of the events to me. Apparently, he got up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, and still half asleep, wandered into my sister's room by accident. I suppose this could make sense. He visits mine very rarely and our rooms are next to each other. He then said he wanted to kiss me before climbing back into bed, and swears he never put his hands anywhere, all while claiming he 100% believed that my sister was me. I thought his explanations make sense, but I'm 18 and my sister is 16, could he really not tell the difference? No, I couldn't think like that. Jerry was my best friend and I knew he would never intentionally do something like that. It was at this point that my sister came out threatening to call the cops. Jerry got out immediately and my sister gave me an ultimatum. Either I cut Jerry out of my life or she will disown me and expose what happened. She put the pieces together and came to the conclusion that me and Jerry are hooking up.
My sister told me that my perverted guy best friend roped her. She is forcing me to cut him off. I took another day to think it over, during which my sister kept telling me to choose a side. The whole time, she was berating Jerry, going into detail about what he supposedly did. She mentioned Jerry sliding his hands down again, and I shot back telling her that Jerry told me he never did such a thing, and the amount she is going on about it is making me suspicious as to whether she is telling the truth after all. She became teary after that and told me she knows which side I am on. She went back up to her room, and an hour later I was getting so many text messages. Everyone, except Jerry, was berating me, calling me disgusting names and telling me I was a selfish and horrid human being for what I had done to my sister. I took their abuse on the chin, turning to Jerry for his support and looking for comfort from him. However, to my ultimate demise, Jerry turned his back on me at the same time too. He refused to take my calls, would not respond to my text messages and basically ghosted me. It was at this point that I realized my F up. I started thinking about Jerry, about that night specifically, and how the details he gave me did not make sense. My sister's bed is smaller than mine, and is positioned in a different corner of the room. I realized that Jerry may have indeed tried to rope my younger sister, but my growing love for him was so strong that I completely pushed aside the possibility of him being a creep. The signs were in front of me and I should have seen them. I went upstairs to talk to my sister, but she had locked herself in her room and refused to open the door. I texted her begging for forgiveness, but she is yet to respond. I don't want to lose my sister and my friend group over this.